America used to rule the world. Now Asia wants to usurp that throne. I'm not talking economics here. I'm talking theme parks.
The theme parks are only as successful as the brand that they ally themselves with.
Also in this week's programme,
the site that helps you map out a holiday you can afford and find out how David Hasselhoff is helping promote a new brand of airline seats. That's Online Check-In later in the show.
And we meet the man who says he can help to make you look like a Korean soap star. Hello and welcome to Fast Track. I'm Rajan Datar, and this is the second of our two-part special from Seoul in South Korea, famous for its history but also all things contemporary. Now, in the ever-fiercer battle to control the lucrative leisure and tourism market, one major prize is to boast the most exciting and cutting-edge theme park. This one in Seoul, for example, claims to be the largest indoor complex in the world. And this country was to grab pole position in an industry that's proved to have had its fair share of ups and downs. It may be a murky Monday morning in Seoul, but it's not spoiling the fun at Lotte World. Coachloads of school kids bust in from the suburbs, fill their boots with snacks, toys, and most of all, scary rides. Pleasures not lost on the oversized kids either.
Scariest ride is probably the gyro drop, and it drops from like a height of a 25-story building.
I like to go for more stationary rides. Then the thrill is like 3D or 4D. You know, once in a while, if I just want to get adrenaline pumping, you go for those exciting rides that the heart will just try to leap out from your mouth.
Lotte World is very aware of its child-friendly niche. There's an ice rink, junior attractions, and a tribute to K-pop, Korea's homegrown music scene. Many of the staff here came regularly in their youth, almost as a rite of passage.
We introduce new attractions every year, like a kids zone for our family guests. I think South Koreans like the fact that you can escape daily life and experience unusual things. We also have shows like parades and musicals, which are very entertaining.
Across the other side of the city, Seoul's other big theme park success story, Everland, has the expertise of high-tech giant Samsung behind it, and it shows. Both Everland and Lotte World recorded double-digit growth last year, and both feature in the top 10 of the world's fastest-growing theme parks.
I think you're starting to see a lot more innovation put into the ideas. That combined with the technology, I think we've got some incredible technology players in this space across Asia. People like Samsung, for example, that can really add a lot of diversity.
For the best part of the 20th century, the United States dominated the theme park world, tapping into its deep well of popular culture to provide recognizable cuddly characters from film and animation. But tougher times have taken their toll, leading to drastic measures.
An interesting thing happened when the recession started. Americans were still going to the theme parks. They still wanted to have that dream vacation of going to Disney World or Universal or wherever. They didn't change that. What they did change was how much they spent once they got in the gates. And it's important to remember that only about 60% of the income at a theme park comes from the ticket price. The rest of it comes from all those other things like souvenirs and food and parking. And so the big game right now in the United States is to try to figure out how to get people to spend more once they get in the gates.
In Europe, attendance figures have suffered in spite of theme parks boasting some of the scariest rides on the planet, like this one at Thorpe Park in the UK.
even previously booming parts of the world, like the Gulf region, with some of the fastest rides, are experiencing a slowdown. And some big projects have been suspended, for instance in Dubai. Which means the Far East is now leading the way.
Of course, South Korea is not the only major player in theme parks in Asia. Across the continent, there's a whole rush of construction going on. And some of the cleverest brains in the business are being hired to find the next big thing.
Visitor numbers to theme parks rose in Asia last year by 7.5%, compared to 1.5% across the world. Attendance in the region is expected to rise to 290 million in 2012 from 249 million in 2007. From Singapore to Shanghai, theme parks are on the crest of a wave, and new features like the Transformer ride that debuts next month in Singapore are keeping the customers coming.
Recently, the Universal Studios here in Singapore, which has had an incredible show element that's right on the waterfront, so it's their 8 o'clock big show. It's got some amazing crane creatures that are created, which is all animatronics, and that combined with all the lights, the music, is a really quite an interesting experience.
So, in the battle to provide the next generation of theme parks, what's going to break new ground? Well, in a land that prides itself on design and technology, state-of-the-art style, the answer seems to be robots.
Introducing Robot Land.
Robot Land in Incheon in South Korea is part of a huge government-backed project to create a technology-based metropolis with robots, the unifying theme. This is, after all, a country where they want to have one robot like this per classroom acting as a teaching assistant for young kids by the year 2013.
My name is Langbet.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Scheduled to open in 2014, executives predict visitor numbers to Robot Land of nearly 3 million a year. The CEO says this is a new concept in theme parks, with the rides being a Trojan horse towards greater understanding and interaction with robot technology. It's edutainment, as he calls it, and Robot Land will be a testbed for research and development.
We show the future, robot future, which means the human's future. So not confined to the mechanical things. Well, it's we have to develop the robot, like a multi-dimensional things like that.
Towering high above robot.
As for lovable Disney characters, well, they're old hat, apparently.
There is a big difference between the Disneyland and Robot Land. One of the main reasons is that Disneyland is just all the time stayed, which means Mickey Mouse is not growing, but Incheon Robot Land theme park is growing.
I am a cute, intelligent, smart service robot fused by Korean high technology. I am a feasible robot to do emotion interaction.
But experts in theme park design say it's going to be a big mental leap between industrial robotic arms throwing people about on a ride and customers interacting with artificial intelligence.
I think what robots are going to add is probably extra twists and turns in those kind of physical sensations, but it's definitely the relationships, this idea of giving your power, giving over control to a machine who in some ways is becoming more and more human-like. I think that sort of darker place, that sort of theatricality of machines is where the next thrills are going to come from.
Robot Land promises a robot museum, 4 thematic robot lands, dancing and gladiatorial robots, and a 56-metre-high robot. My advice, don't go there if you don't like robots. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, experts warn not to write off the Americans and the allure of recognisable characters. The new Universal Studios Harry Potter theme park has been a big hit, for example, and experienced brands can trump homegrown Asian concepts.
The theme parks are only as successful as the brand that they ally themselves with. Harry Potter, of course, is a multi-billion-dollar brand that almost every child in the world knows. A great theme is something that is eternal, and it's something that multi-generations will love. That's why Mickey Mouse has always endured, and other characters sort of fallen by the wayside in the past.
as we have this rise of technology, people are becoming more familiar with robots, and we're now anthropomorphizing robots, I think we're going to see those kind of characters, the older cartoonish characters, being replaced by slightly more technological looking characters.
And we can love robots.
Yeah. Surely.
Yeah. And robots can love us?
That's right, too.
What a smart kid.
So, would the prospect of a new robot land entice you over to Seoul? Or do you prefer your theme parks to have well-known characters from movies and animation? Or do you just like scary, thrilling rides? Let us know. Email us at fasttrack@bbc.com. Right, let's see what else is making news in the world of travel this week.
The Eurozone crisis might be making you cautious about exchanging your currency. But it's even more of a headache for tour companies. German tour operator TUI has asked hotels in Greece to sign new contracts that will allow them to pay hoteliers in local currency if the country exits the euro. The move has been slammed by the Greek Tourist Board, which says no one will agree to the request. Kenya's tourism minister has said advice from the UK Foreign Office for people travelling to the country is too cautious. The UK is currently warning against travel within 60 kilometres of the Somali border. But the minister says the country is safe.
All this time we've never had a crisis attacking tourists. But this has happened, unfortunately, but we're in control as government and we are taking action against the perpetrators of this attack.
And the President of Iceland has invited tourists to visit the presidential palace in Reykjavik for some pancake flipping. It's part of a campaign where Icelanders ask people to visit their towns and landmarks.
Don't go away, because coming up after the break, Carmen's here with our online check-in, plus how to look like a Korean soap star. We meet Seoul's king of cosmetic surgery. See you after the break.